no complaining.
You know, normally I'm trying to get away from topics like this, mainly because I find these kinds of issues to be rather lackluster, especially since I'm trying to move away from this kind of BS and focus on video game content, which I hope you guys check out. And two, there are bigger things in the world to deal with right now, and
Get on with it!
okay, look, if you're searching for videos just dunking on Idubbbz and his girlfriend, you're probably gonna be a little bit disappointed here.
Well, not really.
No, I'm not saying I agree with the situation, because I believe that people, if they're of legal age, they should be able to do what they want within the lines of the law. Whether it be spouting off slurs or selling off pics of your birthday suit, I personally don't care, but others do, and despite what Idubbbz says...
And then future jobs, they might be a little bit harder to come by.
I think this is one of the most important opinions to highlight because it really demonstrates a severe lack of real-world experience when you're saying that future jobs are going to be harder to come by because of an OnlyFans account. Like, if you think this affects your standing or your social credibility in getting jobs, you are so sadly mistaken.
That can have an effect on future potential job offers. We've seen stories of people getting fired for what they put on social media. Things like Donglegate. Do I agree with this? No, I do not, because in those instances, the issues were blown way out of proportion by the audience. But that doesn't mean it isn't a concern to consider. Most of the time, employers only care about the image of the company or administration have, and sometimes it's even something as simple as a job in the alt entertainment industry that can have nasty effects on future job opportunities. And what if something happens, like, you know, you do get old, you can't rely on selling new pictures of your birthday suit. What happens when you get a serious injury, get sick? Not only would a job like that be next to impossible to do in that condition, but because you did that, you'd lose any chance of getting a decent job that can support yourself. To claim otherwise is honestly showing to be a major detachment to the real world and a lack of knowledge on how the online world can actually affect the real world and your opportunities. Granted, I find the situation to be insane and rather off-putting, and that's pretty much everywhere in this situation. From Idubbbz himself, his girlfriend, the people calling them out, and the people who are defending them. And those are just basically capitalizing off this drama. I know you can easily put me on that camp, especially when you can see people are sucking their views down on this. But then again, I'm mostly doing this for some kicks and enjoying the tire fire at this point.
Oh no! They're stealing the tire fire!
There are points I agree with, and some that I've pointed out in the past. One such example would be that people will often view content creators a cut above the rest of society, similar to that of celebrities. People often point to clips like this.
You're a whore. You're a whore, just admit it. My wife, I'm sort of a cuckold man myself. Please, have a great time. I'm a dapper gent myself.
And yeah, that is bad, especially since Idubbbz decided to cut that very infamous clip out of his video response to the drama. Even as a joke, I can see people complaining that this is a bad thing for him, and to an extent I can agree with that. I don't think it's a very solid piece of evidence to claim hypocrisy, but then again, Idubbbz kinda did the same thing to Ricegum.
I used it as a point to illustrate that you can be criticized for it. I didn't say that I'm morally superior to you.
That being said, times change, people change, it's a natural occurrence in our world. I wouldn't call it straight up hypocrisy, mind you, but I can see the argument people are making in that regard. No, the real hypocrisy lies elsewhere. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that Idubbbz would even make a response video to this drama, especially considering the fact that his channel is based off capitalizing the two big idiots, Leafy and Ricegum, who decided to make piss-poor responses and share plenty of similar issues that are in Idubbbz's video, removing context.
This was all based on a joke in my video, which he didn't include the entire clip showing the hints that it was a joke. So at this point, I'm like, why am I here? Where is this going?
Making the opposing side look like an idiot.
Edward, he probably got told by a lot of people that he looks like Idubbbz, and he really liked that because Idubbbz was cool. But now that Idubbbz is a simp, now he's gonna go in full baby Wawa mode. No.
Even acting ignorant for the sake of it, getting overly defensive.
You realize there are guys out there in private right now jacking off to your girlfriend. But I guess it's out of sight, out of mind, it's not a problem.
Oh, and showing that his own criticisms can be applied to him as well.
I would say skank and slut, but never was that part of my argument. It's just flavor. It's just flavor. My wife, I'm sort of a cuckold man myself. Please, have a great time. I'm a dapper gent myself. Like, in the future, I'll probably say slut and skank again. I don't know why everyone thinks that, like, I made a stand. You portray yourself that way. That's why I used video clips of you portraying yourself that way.
Idubbbz, what are you doing, man? It's something that people can pick up on, and it's a really bad decision as a creator in the long haul. Especially since Idubbbz had propped himself on a moral high ground when responding to these kinds of creators that he think were trash.
Hey, dumbass. You did something stupid in the past. You can be criticized for it.
Is Idubbbz as bad as Leafy or Rice Gum? Well, no. Personally, I think Idubbbz's content is garbage, but that's mainly because his brand of humor and his unboxing videos are essentially not something that interests me. You get more entertainment out of wet sopping soap bread. But that's a matter of perspective in that regard. You may agree or you may disagree, or you may just think that he's worse or bad than Leafy. And you know what? You're allowed to think that. You're allowed to have that opinion, and you shouldn't be treated like crap for having that opinion, as long as you express it in a calm manner. That being said, I do think people are taking the situation a bit too far on all sides of this. But what I especially don't like is how some of the upper crust of YouTube are acting like, gee, Emp, that's a really good point. Too bad that's undermined by the meme you use in an attempt to change the narrative of the situation. In it, he paints the situation as Ian just defending women when no, that's not what happened, and you bloody know it, Emp. People's issues are the hypocrisy as well as Idubbbz's response being just as bad as the people he himself criticized, as well as treating his audience poorly in that regard, and that deserves some level of criticism. Honestly, I don't really find it to be a big issue if Idubbbz's girlfriend wants to sell pics of herself in her birthday suit. That's fine. Let her deal with the consequences in that regard. It's her choice. It's her life. Gee, Dolan, it's almost like people are taking issue with this topic now because Idubbbz decided to make a piss-poor response and be overly defensive in this situation. Also, it's really telling that Dolan didn't watch either of these videos. I know that the one video is made by Diesel Patches, and I've seen that video. And frankly, in that video, Diesel Patches outright points out that he doesn't really care about, like, that whole situation. He's more interested in the hypocrisy of Idubbbz.
A lot of people are devastated, which is pretty dramatic. He is just some YouTuber acting hypocritical. The reason I'm pissed off is because his fan base is acting more hypocritical than he is. Cooks has called out people on their bullshit, and his audience winked to his content harder than 12-year-olds winked to his girlfriend. Essentially what I'm saying is that they were fine with it. But when the tables have turned, we suddenly now have to mind our own business, which I first have to say is a pretty stupid argument.
But hey, I guess making a straw man is always good. It's not like people call other people out all that all the time. But big names, people like Penguin Zero, also need to remember that this was publicly announced. And you think people would have basic understanding on how the internet works at this point since they make a living out of it.
Now, he made a clear distinction in his video between those unhealthily obsessed people that act like their entire universe collapsed because he did something that they morally didn't agree with.
Edward, he probably got told by a lot of people that he looks like Idubbbz, and he really liked that.
Who wants to talk about murders?
I also find it really funny that some people are saying like, oh, it's their private life, what business of it is yours?
Overall, this shouldn't have even been a controversy in the first place, but because celebrity worship is so normalized in the world right now, people felt so entitled to tell Idubbbz how to live his life and what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. It's his fucking relationship. If he's okay with his girlfriend having an OnlyFans account, all power to him. But then you have these professional Redditors going in full Alex Jones meltdown, shaking their fucking fist, running outside, damn you, Idubbbz, how could you do this to me? You've betrayed me, my life is ruined. It's pitiful.
Like, Penguin Zero makes a point like that. Which is ironic because I remember this guy doing something back when Pro Jared situation was a thing.
Anyway, he's a horrible person, deserves all of the shit he's getting, and his dick pics are some of the goofiest shit in the world, and I don't know how he's ever gonna come back on the internet in any capacity. There's a lot more to
Once it's out in the public, people will talk about it and people will make jokes about it and they will actually make criticism about it too. That's what Penguin Zero does. That is the nature of the internet beast. And for some reason, these big YouTubers seem to forget that, especially when they make video after video about these situations.
I find it hard to believe that this many people actually care deeply about this, someone else's relationship. But I think it's because it's Idubbbz, the golden boy. If this was anyone else, no one would really give a shit.
Oh, you understood that? Not a word.
Of course, it's not like people haven't done the same thing to other creators and zeroing in on anything that might be considered bad. No one's made videos about the Paul brothers, Leafy is here, H3H3, Tana Mongoose, Keemstar, Rice Dumb. No one's ever made videos about those people. Really, my issue with this whole situation is that Idubbbz actually made it worse for himself. He just doesn't seem to understand what's happening, and his usual way of dealing with things, being snarky, making self-aware jokes, and so on, is not really solving the issues that people have, and it's only making it worse. Had he just said, I support my girlfriend, then probably people wouldn't be making videos about this, and they wouldn't be dunking on him. You'd have people clowning on the situation for sure, but that's just, again, how the internet works. Don't get all defensive. Can I also say, real classy there, Idubbbz. I suppose showcasing a guy with only 16 followers on the time at Twitter, insulting him in a public video that's Totally not something that Leafy and Ricegum would do. A Twitter account, mind you, that was specifically stating that it was a comedy-based account before it blew up due to your video, and that's weird. According to the screenshot you show in your video, that tweet went up 2 minutes before the screenshot was taken. Oh no. Yikes. Even if you don't want to believe that the title of the account where this is happening, scrolling through the tweets made by it alone would send up flags saying like, this isn't a serious dog.
Now, he made a clear distinction in his video between those unhealthily obsessed people that act like their entire universe collapsed because he did something that they morally didn't agree with.
First up, we got Edward. He probably got told by a lot of people that he looks like Idubbbz, and he really liked that. You think these would actually do a smidgen of research?
A what now?
You wanna know the real kicker here? There was a simple way to avoid all of this that I'm surprised Idubbbz didn't even consider about, especially considering his content, and that was go with the joke. Had he just memed, not taken the situation actually serious, and not act like a moral superior, then this probably would have been just dust in the wind. Really, the issue that a lot of big YouTubers are ignoring is that this is similar to what Leafy and Ricegum did. They both could have ignored Idubbbz and just kept on making content, and the situation would have gone away. It's the same thing for Idubbbz, but what makes it worse is that this is such a who gives a hell topic that he's blowing way out of proportion. It's not even that he could be what people are accusing him of being. It's that the person he built up all these years is cracking due to something that could have been, at best, just been a meme that he could have exploited for a laugh. But no, that's something that these YouTubers and e-celebs are outright forgetting. Dishing out criticism, but can't take even the slightest bit of hate. Which is what Leafy's content cut was about, or what Ricegum's deputy video was about. So, there you go. I think people are doing what people do best, being stupid on all fronts. Now if you excuse me, I've got Persona 5 Royal to look forward to, and a video that I've been wanting to cover for a long time. Peace out. Also, little side note, Idubbbz, damn it.
Leafy is planning on making a response on YouTube to this whole Idubbbz situation. So,
This is your fault. Leafy's actually coming back. Why would you